Decolonization is a word that holds deep meaning, and at its heart it is about truth and respect. It is a process of undoing the harm caused by colonization. It is not about erasing history, it is about facing it honestly. It means understanding that one group of people came to a land and took control from another. This process created systems that continue to hurt indigenous peoples today. Decolonization asks us to look at these systems. It asks us to change them. It is a journey that is about more than politics and laws. It is a journey of the heart and mind, a way to build a more just and caring society for all people who share this land. Many people hear the word and feel unsure. They might think it is only about giving land back or changing government policies. While those are important parts, the true scope is much wider. A central pillar of decolonization is self-determination. This means that indigenous nations have the right to make their own decisions. They should have control over their own lives and their own lands. For centuries, decisions about indigenous peoples were made for them by outsiders, colonial governments. This took away their power and created deep harm. Self-determination is the act of restoring that power. It means indigenous communities decide how to run healthcare, education, and child welfare. They should have the resources and authority to make it happen. Land is deeply connected to self-determination. For indigenous peoples, land is not just property. It is the source of life, culture, identity, their pharmacy, their grocery store, their sacred place. Decolonization involves addressing the issue of land. This can mean returning land to indigenous stewardship, land back. It also means ensuring nations have a say in how resources are managed. True decolonization supports revitalizing traditional leadership and law, nation-to-nation relations built on mutual respect, recognition, and cooperation. When a community chooses its own path, it becomes stronger and healthier, rebuilding as vibrant, self-governing peoples on their own terms. Decolonization is an act of healing the spirit, and a vital part is reviving indigenous languages. Language is more than words. It is a container for culture and history. Ancient stories, plant knowledge, sacred ceremonies. Colonial policies tried to destroy these languages. Residential schools punish children for speaking their mother tongue. Revitalizing language is an act of defiance and reclamation. A child learning an ancestral language connects with thousands of generations and feels whole and proud. Elders are keepers of stories, songs, and teachings, showing how to live in a good way and care for one another. Ceremonies bring communities together to grieve, to celebrate, to find strength. These practices were once outlawed. Their revival is resilience and pride. Healing links mind, body, spirit, and community. Time on the land, using traditional medicines, talking with elders, participating in ceremony. Decolonization recognizes these as essential, blending modern medicine with traditions to improve health. Rebuilding culture is a story of strength, beadwork, carving, weaving, the sounds of the drum and the revival of ancient songs, families sharing traditional foods and telling stories around a fire, living, evolving cultures. This cultural renaissance builds identity and purpose, the foundation for healing and a vibrant future. Schools have a profound responsibility in the work of decolonization. For too long, the education system presented a one-sided, incomplete history, ignoring stories, contributions, and experiences of indigenous peoples. It failed to teach the full truth about colonization, broken treaties, and the devastating legacy of residential schools. True decolonization in education means changing this, teaching hard truths so students understand the present. They learn empathy, respect, and the courage to challenge racism and injustice. Every person in Canada can be part of this change. Begin with a commitment to listen and learn, amplify Indigenous voices, read Indigenous authors, watch Indigenous films, follow Indigenous journalists and artists, attend powwows and public talks when invited. This is not about speaking for Indigenous peoples. Be a respectful guest and a good student. Learn whose land you live on, then let learning lead to action. Action can be small, but meaningful. Speak up against racist jokes and stereotypes, correct misinformation with care, ask schools to implement the calls to action, support Indigenous businesses. Millions of small acts create a powerful ripple. Allyship is relationship, moving from passive support to active participation with humility, patience, and the courage to keep learning. The path of decolonization is long and requires sustained effort from everyone. Governments must take decisive action, fully implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and fund indigenous-led programs, support language revitalization, cultural preservation, and community wellness, honor treaties in spirit and in law. Take land back seriously, return stewardship of ancestral territories. This is not a gift, it is a legal and moral obligation. Healing must be shared. The trauma of colonization harmed indigenous peoples and the country itself. A nation built on injustice cannot be whole. Embracing decolonization heals relationships. When traditions recover and truth is taught, communities grow resilient, benefiting everyone. Healing of indigenous peoples and the nation is intertwined. The path forward is truth and respect. Value indigenous knowledge and leadership. Listen more than you speak. Learn with humility. We are all treaty people, with shared rights and responsibilities. This work will define our future. Every class taught, every story shared, every ally who speaks up moves us closer. Start today. Learn whose land you are on, support indigenous makers, demand action, teach with honesty. Walking this path together, we can heal the past and help all peoples and the land thrive in harmony.